Previously on MapleStory the novel, Sacred Tears.
There isn't much time, but you deserve to know the truth. All of it.
What did you do?
I am Minerva, but I am not the Great Mother.
Why reveal this oblivion to me when you know what it could mean?
I can't rewind time anymore!
You cannot stop me, Ariel.
Knights! Glacier formation!
And now, the continuation of Chapter 23, Part 4.
Ariel dared not look back as she sprinted through the halls, rounding a corner and seeing Lilynouche's smoldering mech. Beside it, the General tried desperately to make repairs through one of its access panels.
General! Sloe is coming. My mother and brother held them back for now. I fear their strength will eventually fail. When he arrives, keep him at bay for as long as possible. The temple will fall. And now, there's only one thing I can do.
Ariel commanded.
You would flee? Where would you go? There is no place on Eusoria to remain hidden, especially not for a goddess and her child.
Lilynouche shouted, their attention drawn to the coming sounds of battle.
I don't know. I only know that I must try. Please, Lilynouche.
Ariel begged as she healed her wounds, fresh scars all over her body, glaring scarlet. Lilynouche grunted, slamming the access panel closed and climbing up to the cockpit, starting the smoking mech once more.
I will do what I can, goddess. Go.
Ariel ran on, shutting her eyes tight, knowing that Lilynouche would likely die here. Behind her, she could hear the sound of ice as Lilynouche and the Qualm Knights readied themselves for the approaching onslaught. All too soon, Ariel looked back to see Dane, Hilda, and an army of skeletons and former knights rounding the corner. Orchid coughed hard, finally waking from her stupor. Something cold was wedged in her gut. Looking down, she saw a sword stabbed through her into the ground, while a broken skeleton lay beside her. She tried to pull it out, only to have the sharp edges of the sword cut into her hands. When the sword wouldn't budge, she looked around, finding Lotus a few feet away from her with spears through his chest and stomach.
Lotus! Lotus! Answer me!
She called weakly. Lotus stirred, his head falling to the side as if following the sound, but his eyes were dull.
Orchid, is that you?
I'm over here! Reach for me!
Orchid called, reaching out her hand.
I can't move, Orchid. My body won't move.
Orchid tried to move, but the pain of the sword halted her movement.
Please, Lotus, reach! I'm scared. Don't leave me alone!
She pleaded. But Lotus didn't answer, nor did he move anymore. Orchid called again and again, the pain of the sword stopping her from calling any more loudly.
Lotus, please. Don't leave me alone.
She whimpered before the dark closed around her vision, and she fell limp.
Third rank of Qualm. Ready your spears and charge!
Ariel shouted, running past the line further into the temple. She didn't wait to see what happened as the Qualm Knights unleashed their wave of ice. Enemy front lines froze, only to be swept aside, splinters of ice howling through the air like spears. The knights tried valiantly to fight off the chains fired at them, but they quickly fell to the impaling links, turning around and continuing with Dane and his relentless march. Ariel forced her hand out, blasting the roof of the temple, blocking the way to slow them down and give her time. She tried everything to battle back the thousands of his soldiers. Still, he came as though brushing aside a lock of hair. Only one choice now remained. Run to the innermost chambers where Rhinne was for safekeeping and escape from their home, the Temple of Time. Ariel called the Oblivion Knights to attention, telling General Lykyra they must hold the line as she ran past the final line of defense. The Red Bull nodded. Fire blazed around his hooves and horns, billowing from his snout as he pawed at the marble floor.
Knights, prepare your weapons,
he growled, his mane of silver fur glowing with flames clinging to the edges and bristling down his back. The air shimmered all around him as adrenaline surged through him, making his shoulders shudder at the thought of battle.
To battle!
Lykyra bellowed, his hooves thundering down the hall and meeting the advancing army with a crash of metal. Ariel leaned into her run, knowing in the deepest part of her being that Lykyra and the Oblivion Knights wouldn't survive. But they would give her time enough to escape with Rhinne. When Ariel burst through the doors, her skin paled and her soul froze. Sloe stood beside Rhinne's bed, gently brushing his finger across her cheek as she slept. Had the advancing army been a diversion?
I'm surprised she managed to sleep through the sounds of battle.
Sloe smirked, turning back to face her.
Get away from her!
Ariel screamed, extending her hand as flames roared to life. Sloe appeared before her, grabbing her wrist and locking eyes with her while angry, malicious whispers infected the air around them.
Mother? What's wrong?
Rhinne groaned as she woke from her slumber. Her eyes focused on the black-cloaked figure who gripped Ariel's wrist hard enough to make her hand turn white. The hiss of spent mana drew Rhinne's attention, seeing her friend and guard in a heap of metal on the ground. The realization of who was holding her mother's hand after seeing smoldering claw marks in the torn steel came to her like a flood.
No. Let her go!
Rhinne screamed, throwing the covers off as golden light sizzled to life in her palm, fear thick in her eyes. The sight of Will impaled by so many chains flashed through her mind, petrified of the same fate befalling her mother.
Rhinne, stop!
Instantly, Rhinne froze as a dozen spear-tipped chains snapped into place under her chin, the power around the metal searing her skin. The man leisurely turned back to glare at her over his shoulder, making Rhinne's face drain of color, leaving her unable to run or breathe.
Were you honestly going to break your promise to me?
Sloe placidly asked as he turned back to Ariel.
You would use her for such a deed?
Ariel asked in return, making him smirk as he eased his grip on Ariel's wrist.
You and I both know what our contract says. Didn't you say this would be the best course of action? You and I both know what our contract says. Didn't you say this would be the best course of action?
Sloe asked, brushing her long, battle-tangled red hair from her face with the backs of his fingers. Ariel tried to pull away, but he mirrored her perfectly, his pressing, soul-chilling presence making it hard to move.
Mother, what does he mean? What deal did you make?
Rhinne asked, her eyes wide and voice trembling, when the sounds of battle raging within the temple drew her attention. A loud explosion shook the floor, making Rhinne run to the balcony. The sight of knights of black battling with the knights of the temple horrified her. Metal and blood stained the marble floor, the empty shells of the knights and corpses of the monks scattered everywhere, staining the marble red.
You promised not to use her power for a personal vendetta.
Ariel seethed, looking into his tepid eyes under the shadow of his cloak. A scroll unrolled from his suspended hand, showing a highlighted sentence in the middle of the page.
Our promise states that our children's power would better the world once they came of age. We both drew up this contract. Or did you forget?
Sloe growled, holding up the contract so Ariel could see her handwriting more clearly.
Do you know what you will turn her into?
Ariel whimpered, looking past Sloe to Rhinne as she stood at the balcony railing. He gently reached up to cup her jaw, but stopped when Ariel gripped his wrist.
She will be this world's end. Everyone will finally have justice dealt to them.
The fire in his eyes saddened Ariel further as memories of Rhinne's childhood and the man she'd lost to this loathsome darkness crossed her mind.
Why would you want to destroy it all? There is such beauty here.
There is nothing worth saving,
he said, tilting his head almost as if he too were sad before adjusting his hand, gripping her hair so hard and so quickly that it made Ariel yelp as he jerked her head to the side.
Now, let our daughter come with me to fulfill her destiny.
Sloe hissed, holding back a great deal as he spoke through clenched teeth.
I will never hand her over to you.
Ariel swallowed, glaring at him from over her cheeks, making him chuckle.
Even after everything I've done, you still can't bring yourself to do what is necessary. The one you knew as Dane is dead. Magus Sloe is all that remains. There is no reason to hold back.
Sloe grinned, easing his grip on her hair.
Our contract is only valid if you make the world better. Destroying it does nothing.
Ariel seethed, teleporting out of his grip but still losing a few strands of her fire-red hair.
The world's destruction rights every wrong done to me. Wiping everything from existence is the only way to make it better. You may think your power is infinite, but continue to deny me, and I will tear you and your world apart, brick by worthless brick, until I have what I want, with or without your consent. I will ask only once more. Hand over our daughter.
Ariel finally breathed a long breath as Sloe followed her to Rhinne, who still stood on the balcony, her horrified gaze riveted to the battle below. Pulling her eyes from the battle, Ariel brushed a few locks of her silvery hair back.
Mother, why are the knights fighting?
She had never seen the terror of war, and certainly not when that war included the Knights of the Temple. She was not new to the sight of death, as she remembered helplessly watching Will disintegrate in her hands, but she never imagined how war could make death so much worse.
They fight for you, my child.
Ariel answered mournfully, trying to hold back her tears and keep a pleasant face.
Why?
Because you are important to the world's survival.
Ariel answered, looking back at Sloe.
And the time has come to fulfill your destiny.
Why would you force me to go with him?
Rhinne whimpered.
He killed Will! He killed everyone in Aurora!
A dark mist appeared around Rhinne as light glowed in her palm, holding it towards Sloe, its fringes tainted with black.
Ridding the world of you would make the world a better place.
She growled, the light becoming brighter and turning a dark shade of red.
That's it, my daughter. Let the darkness flow through you.
Sloe growled until Ariel touched her wrist, lowering her hand away from Sloe and pulling her into an embrace.
You can't give into the darkness, Rhinne. Don't let Will's light die with him. Hold on to it and let your heart remain the roaring fire I know it can be. Be the light of the world and burn away the darkness as a silver goddess.
She soothed. Rhinne lost her composure, burying her face in Ariel's chest and letting out a great sob. Ariel sighed raggedly, spying a sandglass on the table behind Rhinne. Sloe stared down at them over his nose, waiting for Rhinne to take his hand. He was so close, so very close to his goal. The moment she took his hand, he could flood her body and mind with darkness and take control of a body millions of times more powerful than this pathetic human.
You are bound for great things, far greater than I could ever imagine. Sloe may not be the one I expected, but he is the one the world needs. For that, he needs you.
She whispered, holding her back and brushing a lock of her champagne blonde hair behind her ear.
Mother, I don't understand.
I know, my child. I know. I'm going to miss you.
Ariel cried, hugging Rhinne tightly, when Sloe felt a surge in the air. Following its path, he watched the sandglass rise from the table and shoot over to Ariel's outstretched hand.
Ariel, no!
He ran and reached out to stop her. Ariel and Rhinne teleported away in a flash of light, making Sloe stumble as he caught his footing.
You're only making this harder on Rhinne.
Sloe growled to the air.
Your contract violation will not go unpunished.
Sloe hissed, closing his eyes to feel where they had gone, while whispers hung thick around him. Light burst around Ariel and Rhinne as they appeared in a room deep within the temple. Rhinne fell to the ground as the teleportation spell's distance was greater than she was used to, making her dizzy. Grabbing Rhinne's hand, Ariel picked her back up and led her to the center of the room.
What are you doing?
She squeaked as Ariel worked quickly, casting a potent spell over the sandglass she had grabbed a moment before.
I'm sorry, Rhinne. I had to make him think he would go with him.
Ariel answered, finalizing the spell and turning to Rhinne with tears staining her eyes.
I will ensure you stay safe, as will everyone in Euphoria. Please, forgive me, Rhinne.
Ariel cried, shoving the sandglass against Rhinne's chest, instantly making her feel sleepy. As the spell weaved through her, she drifted into the air, clutching the sandglass like an infant. When Ariel was sure the spell had taken effect, she knelt to the ground and used every ounce of her remaining mana to erect a nigh impenetrable barrier around her daughter. As the barrier began forming, Ariel's eyes blazed and thunder clapped around her. Moments later, balls of light rose from Euphoria far below, streaking into Rhinne. With one final chant, Ariel finalized the barrier just as Magus Sloe appeared, swatting her away with the back of his hand.
What have you done to her?
Sloe asked with a torrid tone, walking up to the barrier to bring it down, only to be dismayed when it scorched the flesh of his hand instead.
I placed her in a state of eternal slumber.
Ariel grunted, reaching back for her leg, which lay at an unnatural angle.
Then I will simply take her power.
Sloe answered, lifting his hand as black magic swirled around Rhinne, penetrating the barrier, only to be thrown out a moment later.
You have done your work well, Ariel, my love.
Sloe smiled, clenching his burned hand and cracking his knuckles.
So long as she remains asleep, all her power is keeping the inhabitants of Euphoria safe in the world of her making.
Ariel hissed through clenched teeth. Sloe grinned, turning back to the sleeping Rhinne and chuckling to himself.
You realize this is nothing more than a minor delay, Ariel. Your efforts will not save our daughter from what destiny has chosen for her. If I can't wake her here, I will destroy the world created in her dream.
Ariel tried to summon the strength to cast another spell, tapping into her infinite life force for power. Light hardened into spears, whining as they gathered power.
Careful, my love. If you hurl those at me, you just might hit Rhinne. You wouldn't want that now, would you?
Sloe asked, holding his hand to the barrier once more as inky swirls gently flared up his arm. Ariel concentrated on a single spear, hurling it hard enough to howl through the winds. Sloe caught the incoming spear and crushed it with ease. Ariel swung her hand as another spear hurled toward him, obliterated in a plume of murky violet fire, engulfing Ariel and tossing her back against a column. Once sure that Ariel would be tamed, at least for the moment, he turned his attention back to Rhinne, pushing power through the barrier and surrounding her. When a tendril of the cloud touched her, Sloe felt his mind leave and delve through what felt like time itself. As he rushed over what appeared to be a river, Dane managed to free himself from the confines of his mind.
Time is malleable here. Please, allow me one thing,
he begged. Sloe growled, halting his charge and allowing Dane to come to the forefront, at least what remained of the weak fool.
Make it quick. We don't have time to dawdle.
Dane nodded, holding up his hand and swiping through what appeared to be pictures. He searched through almost 50 years of his past until he found the image of a crowded transport. With a step, he entered the picture and recognized two of the people there. One of them was a well-dressed man with his arm around a baby, and the other a woman leaning against the window, fast asleep.
What are you doing? Hurry it up,
Sloe demanded. Dane stepped to the woman, holding 2 fingers to her forehead. A spark of light shone for a moment, sending images of what was to come into her dream. He then stepped behind the woman, leaning down to her ear and whispering.
This is but the beginning.
Before he could finish, Sloe pulled him back to the stream and continued down their path along the river.
What was that about?
You didn't let me finish, but it is a warning to 2 deserving people.
Dane smiled. Sloe growled, reaching into his chest and wrenching out a spark of light. Its luminescence made him flinch. He tightened his grip on the little ball to dim it.
I can't have you interfering any longer, Dane. This is where you truly die.
He hissed, clenching his hand until the light shattered. Looking ahead, Sloe could see a vast sea of water churning into tornadoes. Far on the horizon, Sloe could see a bright light, like an obscured sun, glowing on what he could only describe as the end of the world.
That must be the world Rhinne is creating. All that remains now is to destroy it and finally wake her to claim what is owed me. Nothing will remain.